In 1999, Nigeria returned to democracy after 16 long years of military rule. The world watched as a new class of civilian leaders walked into office, promising accountability, transparency, and progress. But behind those suits and manifestos was something far older, a beast wearing a new face. This was the age of cabinet convicts, men who walked out of prison cells into corridors of power, men like James Ibori. To understand how a convicted felon not only became governor of one of Nigeria's richest oil-producing states, but also walked freely after stealing millions, protected, praised, and even pardoned, we must first understand the system that enabled him. Because James Ibori isn't just a man, he's a symbol. And like all systems of exploitation, there is a method to the madness. A 5-step process that doesn't just allow corruption, it institutionalizes it. Cabinet of Convicts, James Ibori and the Cost of Corruption. Step 1. Legitimacy. It's 1999, Nigeria is riding a wave of democratic euphoria. James Ibori, young, charismatic, educated abroad, emerges as the fresh face of change. But this fresh face had a criminal past. In 1991, Ibori was convicted twice in the United Kingdom, once for credit card fraud and again for handling stolen property. The record was there, documented, proven, but in Nigeria, that record didn't matter. Instead, what mattered was the story. Ibori cast himself as a self-made man, a champion of the Niger Delta, a defender of resource control. He built a cult-like following, ran for governor, and won. Twice. The Nigerian constitution disqualifies convicted felons from holding public office, but enforcement is optional when the system itself is compromised. In 1999, Ibori's criminal record was quietly swept under the rug. By 2003, he was re-elected. By 2007, he was untouchable. This is how corruption gains legitimacy, not through force, but through silence, through complicity, through the careful construction of a narrative that turns a convict into a champion. Step 2. Capture. With legitimacy secured, the next step is capture of the media, the judiciary, the institutions meant to hold power accountable. Ibori knew the game well. He didn't just play politics, he bought it. He placed loyalists in key positions. He allegedly bribed judges, intimidated opponents, and ensured that when the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC, came knocking, there would be no consequences. Between 1999 and 2007, Ibori looted an estimated $250 million from Delta State coffers. He used shell companies, front men, and offshore accounts to funnel the money abroad. Properties in London, private jets, a fleet of luxury cars, schools for his children in elite British institutions. But at home, Delta State was falling apart. Hospitals without medicine, schools without roofs, roads swallowed by potholes. He had captured the state, and the people were left with nothing but speeches. When the EFCC under Nuhu Ribadu began investigating him, the backlash was swift. Ribadu was removed. The investigation stalled. Files disappeared. Witnesses were intimidated. And once again, Ibori walked away. This wasn't governance, it was occupation. Step 3. Rebranding. Eventually, the pressure grew. International media picked up the case. Civil society started to demand answers, and then an opening. In 2010, James Ibori was finally arrested, not in Nigeria, but in Dubai, at the request of British prosecutors. He was extradited to the UK, where he pleaded guilty to 10 counts of money laundering and fraud. In 2012, he was sentenced to 13 years in prison. The story could have ended there, but this isn't a story about justice, it's a story about power. Even in prison, Ibori retained his influence. He funded candidates back home. He dictated the political direction of Delta State. And when he was released in 2016, he returned to Nigeria, not as a disgraced felon, but as a hero. Traditional rulers welcomed him. Politicians flocked to his house. Songs were composed in his honor. It was a celebration, not of justice, but of impunity. This is the third step in the process, rebranding. Turning a criminal record into a badge of honor, framing conviction as victimhood, selling corruption as resistance. Ibori became a cautionary tale, but not for the corrupt, for the whistleblowers, for the investigators, for anyone who dared to speak up. Step 4. Reintegration. By 2021, the British government had recovered and returned £4.2 million of Ibori's stolen loot to Nigeria. The Nigerian government said it would use it to complete the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. That money had come full circle, from Nigerian oil fields, through shell companies, to UK real estate, and then back home. But here's the irony. While the loot was returned, the looter was free. Ibori had never served a single day in a Nigerian prison. He had never been stripped of his political influence, and just a year later, he was back in the inner circles of power, advising, endorsing, and positioning his allies for future office. Some even speculated that he was considering a Senate run. This is step 4, reintegration. Not into society, but into the system, because the system never rejected him. It merely paused, waited for the heat to die down, and then welcomed him back. In 2022, Ibori appeared at the State House in Abuja. Photographs circulated showing him seated next to the president. No shame, no scandal, just business as usual. Step 5. Redemption. Not the kind born of remorse or reform, but the manufactured redemption of state-sponsored rehabilitation. In 2022, President Muhammadu Buhari granted Ibori a state pardon. The same Ibori who had been convicted abroad, the same Ibori who had never been prosecuted at home, the same Ibori whose loot had been returned in hard currency. The pardon wasn't accidental, it was strategic. It sent a clear message: no matter what you steal, no matter what court convicts you, Nigeria will always welcome you back. This is redemption as ritual, as reinforcement, as warning, because when the corrupt are redeemed, justice is the only one truly punished. The story of James Ibori isn't just about one man. It's about a nation that has institutionalized the reward of corruption. A country where criminals don't flee, they run for office. Where loot isn't hidden, it's redistributed through political favors. It is no coincidence that many of Nigeria's most powerful politicians have faced criminal allegations. What set Ibori apart is not that he was caught, it's that he survived it. He built an empire on silence, on loyalty, on fear, and the system, instead of expelling him, absorbed him. He became a blueprint. James Ibori was supposed to be a warning. Instead, he became a mentor. If you believe in accountability, if you believe in history as a tool of justice, not erasure, then we must tell stories like this. Because in a country where facts are often forgotten and crimes are recast as political vendettas, memories become resistance and stories become weapons. James Ibori was convicted, but the system that made him governor, then prisoner, then pardoned hero, that system is still in power. System changes. There will be more Iboris. In every cabinet, in every state, in every future.